Hi, my name is Sean Shaler. The person in the middle is our esteemed host, the one and only Jesse Lobbs. And then on the far right
Hi.
is, I did see, not even a little bit insulting, I don't think, unless you really hate hosting things. And on the far right is our special guest, again, back for a second week, or really back to back if you're the one person that's watching on Twitch, is Tyler Keel. This is PokéMalarkey, episode 13, Mystery at the Lighthouse. I almost
Good
lost it there for
job,
a second.
That's
Sean.
right.
I got
That's two in a
so
row.
close. I wanted to say
Two.
Dragonite at the Lighthouse or something, but no, it's Mystery at the Lighthouse, and it is a
Oh boy.
Hey, you
very
can't say
interesting episode.
Oh,
Dragonite. That's a secret.
Oh shit, you're right. My bad.
You can't name
Spoiler alert.
drop.
so
Spoiler
much
alert.
rage. So much rage I have for this episode.
Oh,
But
thank you. I have
Okay,
so much crap to talk on this
okay.
episode.
But I get the rage, but it is a very intriguing. Like to me as a child, I loved this. Like I hate it. Yeah, I hate the episode and stuff that happens in it, but it is a very interesting episode
okay,
to a young
pause.
person.
When before we get into anything, when they were describing this mysterious Pokemon, for some reason in my heart, I was like, it's gonna be a Lapras, and I'm gonna be even more angry. But
I thought
at
it was
least
gonna
it wasn't
be.
a Lapras. I was really prepared for it to be a Lapras with the whole song.
That
And
honestly would
every
have made more sense, though.
Yeah,
It would
it
have
would have
made
been,
so much more
More
sense.
sense.
but it's not rare. It's not the only one.
But I
Hey,
don't. I love
our-
Dragonite so
don't
much.
we
I
have
don't want
same
Dragonite to be
position
the only
here?
one either.
There are no rules
I
in
don't
this
understand.
in this first season.
There aren't.
Um.
There are none.
Oh God.
We get a dead chick ghost later on too. I mean, there's no rules.
That's true. Tyler, welcome back. Thank you for coming
I'm
to survey
astounded that
and provide commentary for the bizarre thing that is Pokemon, the Indigo League.
week after week our guests come for one episode and then they actually stay for the second episode, and I'm always astounded and
I'm happy
flattered.
to be here. I'm happy to be here. So
Well,
thank you for letting me be on too and not kicking me off after the first one.
that would be more awkward, right? If we were streaming back to back on Twitch and then we're like,
Well, I
"Hey, we
did exactly.
decided not to have Tyler back for this one."
I did
Sorry.
exactly what I knew would happen, and I talked too much, and we, wasted a lot of time, a
That
lot of
is
time of me rambling. So
that's literally what we're here
No,
for. This
but
show
that's
is
also,
80%
you
tangent.
know, that's also why we usually do the 2 episode thing, because we want to give you time to talk about your own Pokemon journey. And in the second episode, we don't care about that. We've gone through that, and now we can just focus on all of our problems, issues.
All of the deep
With
morality
that,
questions and concerns that kill us every episode. But before we answer
yes.
too many deep questions about life in the Pokemon world, got to do my. I feel like I have to do my plugs every week because on the
You
other
do have to do it
venues,
every week.
on
This
the
is a
other
different
venues, it's a
week.
weekly thing. So first, the Real Kill podcast. That is Tyler's podcast that he does with his wife. By the time you're listening to this, he's gonna have like 3 episodes out or something. I actually don't know what his schedule is, but the Real Kill
probably.
podcast. I will put the link in the description. Second plug is my fundraiser party is like a week away at this point. It's November 14th. It's a raffle, tons of great prizes. All proceeds go to Harvesters, the community food network, and link in the description where everything is. And those are my plugs. Thank you so much for hearing me out. Jesse, back to you.
Thank you, Sean. I would like to say also that we are, well, again, Sean is the mastermind behind so much of the technical part of this show.
Oh, stop
But I
it.
will let you in on a little secret that we are planning a small weekly segment around Wednesdays every week that is going to be kind of like a Pokemon Pokédex review of different Pokemon families, more or less. So, like, if you're talking about Bulbasaur, you have to talk about Ivysaur and Venusaur. And that's going to be my baby. Is it here yet? No, because I have
But
not
it could be here
figured
by
out
this time.
technology.
We're
But,
recording this on October 23rd, but
oh no,
you've got
it will
14
not.
days.
Nope, it
Sure you
won't.
can.
It will
Everybody
be
cheer
here in
Jesse on,
November. It will be here in November. I promise. I will promise it'll be here in November.
and it's gonna be good
Um,
fun.
it's just going to be a very, very short each week in the middle of the week while you're excitingly waiting for the next episode of PokéMalarkey. You'll have a little like 5 to 10 minute segment where I mostly criticize Pokemon as we move
Nice.
as I move through the Pokédex, and I'm very excited about that prospect. But also, it won't just be me bad mouthing your beloved Pokemon. It will also be noting things like For instance,
Why does Magmar have balls on his head?
why does Magmar have balls on his head? But also, why no one ever thinks about if you ever really have spent that much time, if you are one of the true fans at the beginning where you had your little Pokédex book or an electronic Pokédex, or if you just obsess over it today, you notice things like the height and the weight of a Pokemon.
Oh, yes,
and you
and
think
the
you
color,
you
the
think to
flavor
yourself
text.
like, I love this Pokemon, but I'm pretty sure they would eat me. Like the Pokédex is an alarming repository of terrifying information about these Pokemon you're supposed to raise and love. And that's one of the things I plan to do is dive into that and just talk about, ooh, this Pokemon sounds great, but they actually could eat you and maybe avoid them.
And this one's literally a dead Pokemon soul or whatever it is. It gets pretty wild in the flavor text.
Can't wait for it to hear about Mr. Mime and Jinx.
Oh,
I'm very ready for Mr. Mime.
Jesse, I hope you find that to be
guys.
I hope you find that to be like a cathartic, like a vlogging, like a quick vlogging experience. I hope you enjoy that. It gets
I'm ready to be as brutal as possible to these beloved cartoon characters that I love. So we'll see.
Tyler, did you listen to the episode where we talked about some of our favorite Pokemon sounds?
I did. Okay, so I binged all of your episodes like a week ago, and now
that was nice. I appreciate it.
Together. So yeah, no, I wanted to catch up, and I wanted to listen anyway. I just got behind, so I had to listen to all of them. You know what? I'm one of your listeners. I'm not going to send you fan mail, but
people in Europe send us fan mail, and you can't watch all of our damn episodes.
I don't think I'm qualified to be on here. You guys are international. I don't think I'm qualified.
I was so flattered. I was straight up blushing. Anyway, Jesse, when you get to the Electabuzz episode, please have me over just so I can make the noise.
That's the cue I needed. Okay, yes, I do definitely remember that.
I just want to come over and make the noise, and I really hope my wife's in the next room listening. Anyway.
Okay. On that note, I want to say on the last one that Squirtle sounds like he's been smoking like 2 packs a day for 30 years. So that's my comment on Squirtle's voice.
He sounds just like that aunt or uncle you have. That person. It's amazing.
Until the day I die, I will never forget that Sean discovered he's a heterosexual because of Electabuzz, and I'm a homosexual because of Maximilian Pegasus from Yu-Gi-Oh. We have founded our sexual orientation like.
I can't afford therapy, Jesse. I have to uncover all of my deep, dark, things right here on this show.
I'm not surprised a cartoon would do it to me. It makes sense.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
When you guys do the Yu-Gi-Oh episode, you gotta have me back. I know you're gonna talk about Yu-Gi-Oh.
We can't not talk. We love Yu-Gi-Oh.
It's gonna something.
Tyler,
this will spin off to Yu-Gi-Oh and Digimon eventually. It has to because
it absolutely must.
Yeah, that's great.
It may not get the love and care that Pokemon gets in an episode by episode basis, but it absolutely will happen. Tyler, I'm gonna lend you my Switch. There's a Yu-Gi-Oh card game on the Switch, the trading card game.
It's very fun.
They finally got it right. They finally did the trading card game right. And
okay, then that's amazing. Because I will say I did have a Game Boy Color. I had two games. I had a Mummy Returns game.
Nice.
With
Brendan Fraser?
Yes, and I had the original Yu-Gi-Oh Game Boy Color game.
Oh yes, that was a great game.
Was
it? It wasn't. It was.
I loved it.
Jesse,
I loved it.
I love that you loved it because I would have loved it if I had it, but I'm pretty sure it was garbage.
It was.
I mean, everything about Yu-Gi-Oh is broken, and you try and play. You know what? I tried so hard to play the card game, and you know what? It was always broken because even if it doesn't matter.
Yu-Gi-Oh card game makes. Oh no!
I do love the Yu-Gi-Oh card game.
The Yu-Gi-Oh card game makes sense. The Pokemon card game does not.
Oh no, Pokemon's right. Nobody knew how to play the Pokemon card game. But
exactly. What are energy cards?
But the Pokemon trading card game on the Game Boy was at least honest to the game in real life. That's not something you can say about
it was
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Honest that it was terrible.
Tyler, Yu-Gi-Oh makes sense. The card game makes sense, and you're gonna borrow the Switch, and you're gonna borrow this game, and you're gonna play it, and it's gonna.
We can't get down. We can't get too deep down this hole, guys, because we will stay in Yu-Gi-Oh the whole.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Sorry, change of plans.
I will argue with Jesse, and I will.
Fuck Pokemon. We're talking Yu-Gi-Oh right now. No,
out of this episode, we will discuss it because there was a logic.
There is. It'll happen. But all right, I'm so sorry. I tangented. Like this show is 80% tangent, 20% shitting on
Guys,
Rich.
it's just because, I mean, all of you know, if you're listening to it, you also probably more than likely grew up in the same time period
That's fair.
where not only you got Pokemon, you also got Digimon and Yu-Gi-Oh. And a lot of us were like straddling all three of them, trying to decide which one worked better for us. And for some of us, like me,
Choose or die.
like the
Choose or die.
Pokemon show made more sense to me. I watched the Yu-Gi-Oh show, but I was like, this is nonsense. But the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, the card game, made sense to me. And then Digimon, I was just like, I don't know what's happening, but I love it. So
I will say that the reason Yu-Gi-Oh was confusing to me is because I was invested in the card game, but there were cards that did not make. You would get cards from the show, and then you realize
that's why
the cards like Pegasus's deck didn't work. I know, I had it. It didn't work.
They worked for years to try to fix that
No,
deck. To
Tyler,
there were so many retcon things.
Tyler, I agree 110% because I love Maximilian Pegasus.
Haunted my ass.
Toon World sucked in real life. Okay,
I did. It did.
It sucked in real life.
And to this day, I remain. My Twitter name right now for Halloween is Toon World Twunk because I love it so much, and I loved it so much, and so when I found out I could buy Pegasus deck, I was so fucking excited. But turns out the only thing that was good about his deck was relinquished because the Toon World cards, the Toon World cards, which to me were like the most amazing thing I'd ever seen, was trash.
Yeah, because it was just, oh, this is still a Blue Eyes White Dragon, but it's harder to summon because you have to have Toon World and you still have to make the sacrifices.
But
also, relinquish had problems too.
To this day, I have a relinquished deck that is modern legal, so it doesn't have the Thousand Eyes Restrict or whatever. That's all those have been banned. But to this day, I have a legal relinquished deck. I love relinquished that much.
That's good because Thousand Eyes Restrict is also broken because
and they had to get rid of that, and then like Metamorphosis or whatever. There's another card that leads right into, and they banned all of those really. But relinquished in himself, it's not a good deck, but I keep it just in case Neil comes over.
Let us relinquish this subject.
Yeah, it's fine, but it's such a good subject. You're
right.
Where's that summary, Jesse?
I know, I can't help it. I want to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh too, and eventually this may be what it becomes because we can't help ourselves every episode.
We're just gonna gradually transform, but we should have a nice lead-in question for Tyler if there is one.
I don't know, Tyler. We asked both of them last week.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I had some questions later on that I wanted to pose to you. Like one, Hannah has requested that I pose.
Do that.
Yeah,
do that first.
Okay, so the exact quote from Hannah, my wife.
Hannah is Tyler's wife, by the way.
And she's a gem. Hi, Hannah.
She is a gem. So
she said, and I tried to explain this to her, but she wants to hear your answer. So she said, when did Pokemon stop being lame? Or when did it stop being lame to like Pokemon? And I did in my last episode. In the last episode, I talked about how I switched schools and got picked on for liking Pokemon. It wasn't cool, so I had to hide that I like Pokemon.
I would like to go first and say that there was definitely a moment in high school where I had to or maybe even middle school, where there was a remarkable collection of mostly girls at my school who were anime obsessed, and all of us who were the cool kids, and I was somehow bizarrely one of them at that time. You, and I wasn't actually that cool, but I was still cool enough that we very much knew that the girls who watched anime were losers and you could not associate with them. I think it was around
straight up
maybe eighth grade where that became a fact. And then I think in at least when I was an undergrad, so maybe nearly not 10 years later, but close, there was a period of time where because there was so much extra Pokemon things, and I really think one of the big things has been the Switch and Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu, where our even 2016 Pokemon Go, because Pokemon Go did that thing that all of us deep in our hearts desperately wanted when Pokemon first came out. You wanted to live in that world more than anything.
You wanted
And
to
Pokemon...
trade your pets for candy. Am I right?
Shut up. Pokemon Go let you do that to an extent, right? Because you could go out for a walk. Here's a Ghastly at 9 p.m. and you're like, fuck yeah. I think for me that really sealed the deal, because I was slowly getting back into it in like 2014, 2015. But when Pokemon Go came out, I was like, finally. It's like, yes. So that's what did it for me. Yeah. Sean, what about you? That's what sealed me in anyway.
Mine was probably more gradual. So in grade school, I lived like 30 minutes away from the grade school I went to in a different town. So I didn't do a lot of sort of like extracurricular or hang out with friends or anything. So I didn't have hobbies in grade school. But then in high school, was a little closer, and I had some nerdier friends. And then in college, when you get it kind of branch out, and I moved to Lawrence, from a small rural town into Lawrence, Kansas. And so probably in college, and I took the Game Boy Color, and I finally had internet access. It was like 2008.
That's a big deal.
And I finally had internet access.
Deal.
And so I could emulate the
Same.
games. Also, I finally had a computer. So I'm gonna say for me, like going to college, 2008, 2009, and I was like, hey, this is much more accessible to me now, and I liked watching it when I was a kid. So
Yep.
I'm gonna say 2008.
Suddenly having more than dial-up changed the world for me.
I basically got to skip dial-up. We kind of had it at home, but I went from like kind of having dial-up maybe one summer to then college where there was actual just good internet, and it was
I don't know.
mind-boggling.
Do you guys, if you don't remember, trying to find porn on dial-up was the most excruciating thing.
Our computer was like in the kitchen, so I didn't get to delve into a lot of that.
Fine side
Mom,
story.
close your ears.
My parents, who are still dumb as rocks, were like, well, we don't know how to use a computer, but our son does. Let's put the computer in our pubescent son's room. What a good idea.
That's before they knew that 80% of the internet was porn. That's before people were aware.
I was very pleased with that decision.
So 75% of this podcast is just learning a lot about Jesse.
Okay, and I've grown to accept that is because Jesse is the most interesting person here, with all due respect to us and all of our guests, Tyler.
That's true. I am the most.
I mean, that is true.
I'm not.
I'm still trying to figure out that whole cloister thing. Your cloister obsession just does not mix.
I love what I'm afraid of.
So, I love what I'm afraid of. It makes so much sense.
That spiky cloister.
Leave my ice Pokemon alone. Let's talk about the mystery at the lighthouse.
Yeah, you need to give us a summary.
Mystery at the lighthouse. So also, by the way,
we've already been talking for like 20 minutes.
I had started capturing too. So this one made its way to the United States in 1998. Just for reference, I was 7 years old in 1998. Mystery of the Lighthouse. Ash is pissed because his friends are making fun of him. Misty and Brock are rightfully pointing out he's barely caught any Pokemon. They just seem to come along with him whenever he's around. But he finds his way to the beach, and he is very fortunate to catch the world's smallest Krabby. But Ash is very excited about that. And they go to find a phone, and they end up upon this mysterious lighthouse. And at the lighthouse, they discover, the Krabby made it, Professor Oak, but they also discover Bill, the Pokemon researcher who shows up very early on in the games and in the manga. So there are a little bit of crossover here. But at this lighthouse, you meet Bill, the researcher, who shows up as a Kabuto. And you're like, what the fuck? But it's just a costume. So Ash helps him get out of the costume, and he explains that, he's interested in extinct Pokemon or endangered Pokemon, I suppose, and is trying to learn as much as he can about them, which is really cool, neat.
Or they just caught him in the middle of cosplaying, and he was a little embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed, Bill. It's fine.
Or something
he lives
more
alone in a lighthouse. He's got to just stay entertained somehow.
He doesn't live alone. He has a cook. He swears she's on vacation.
Quote
unquote cook. He has a cook, I swear.
I have comments on that. But Jesse, finish the story.
No, it's hard. It's hard.
Sorry, I'm drinking more as we go on. It's not helping.
Bill explains that he's searching for this Pokemon that is rare, that he has heard about and knows about, and he's trying to find this rare Pokemon. And eventually it shows up as it approaches the lighthouse. Team Rocket, they see it, they try to capture it, and of course chase the Pokemon off because it loses its trust of Bill that Bill had been slowly trying to get. And the Pokemon wanders away, and that's the end of the episode, with Bill maintaining that maybe he's going to keep trying because he wants to find this mysterious Pokemon, one of the few that we don't know anything about somehow. Tyler, go before I go. Okay, there's a lot about it I hate.
I think there's some great things that this episode does, or what it's trying to do. I think the execution is absolute garbage.
That's fair.
And also, I couldn't help but think about the Lighthouse with, Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe the whole time.
Oh my goodness, I just watched the Dead Meat episode on that 2 days ago.
That's what I'm imagining the whole time. That would have been way more exciting. Yeah, could we replace these characters with Robert Pattinson?
That would have been hilarious.
And have more farts. It would be great. But
or horrifying.
Okay, it does a great thing in that it establishes the magic teleporting away of once you get more than 6 Pokemon at a time, which again, I'm like, how many Pokeballs are they carrying and where is he hiding them all? But anyway, whatever. The magic beam me up Scotty teleport away afterward. You guys have talked about the technology before, so I wanted to call that out, and how there's this inconsistency with we don't have these things, but suddenly we have this insane.
We don't have paved roads, technology. But we can teleport. Maybe that's why they don't have paved roads.
And how do they have people that can come up with these things? Because everyone has a 4th grade education or what? 3rd grade education.
Because nobody knows that squirrels can put out fires.
Or, Ash not knowing that, hey, maybe I shouldn't have, Pikachu out right now when we're all sopping wet. But, again, previous episode.
Details.
But it establishes that, it establishes the idea that there are 150 known Pokemon, but there might be many more. So I think it's nice that they threw that in early on, because we know, well, I don't know, because I stopped paying attention after the first 150, but we know it spirals out of control after that. So I thought
absolutely
that was nice. Although I do think it's odd that they throw in these prehistoric Pokemon that don't come in until later, which I always had issues with. They know these. There's other living Pokemon that they don't know of yet, but they know about these supposedly extinct prehistoric ones that aren't so extinct that come up later, or whatever.
That are all trapped in underground Jurassic Park.
Yeah, exactly.
I do kind of like that episode when it comes out.
It's one of my favorites.
Go
on, Jesse. Get it off your chest.
I wish I was just telling my boyfriend earlier today that I wish Pokemon had. Okay, so in this episode, Bill tells them, the Earth is 4.5 billion years old, whatever. But basically, he throws out the number that we all know is to be correct, and I can't remember exactly what it is, but that's close. And we know for sure on this planet that we know so much about, there are at least 150 Pokemon. And I know it is everyone who's listening, I know it's a TV show. I know how these things work, but also it drives me up the wall. That we have so many more Pokemon today. And in this episode, there's only 150. So I was telling my boyfriend, I was like, I wish Pokemon had done something so many anime, and also Pokemon has already delved somewhat slightly into sci-fi things. I would buy it completely 110% if the Pokemon universe consisted of different planets and each region was a planet. I'd be like,
They didn't plan ahead at all, from the original.
Okay.
They didn't build out this. So, my favorite TV show in the world is Avatar: The Last Airbender. Why? Because it's 3 seasons of a show that it's one big story arc, and they planned it all out ahead of time, like one big movie. Pokemon is the opposite. Pokemon, it's well, there's 151, and then next season it's well, don't worry about it.
More.
We were blind. We didn't see all these annoying ass blue crocodiles running around until last week, and we're really sorry.
The crime you go on when
you guys both just got real quiet.
Can you hear me? Sorry, Jesse was
My
freezing
computer
on mine.
slowed
I was trying to
down.
hear what he said. Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Jesse, go ahead
But
and
I'm
repeat
here.
that, please.
Oh, I'm just annoyed. This whole episode annoys me to no end.
You've got a great point, though. It reveals a
I
serious shortcoming that would
I
have easily been
do,
overcome.
and it's just the problem of how that's just how TV shows like this work. I mean, I can't fault it for that, because you don't know if a franchise is going to succeed, and when it does succeed, you have to expand upon it. Blah 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 blah. Capitalism reigns supreme, and it ruins everything.
They
But
must sell more.
they must sell more. Exactly.
It's just a
But
commercial. That's all a TV show is.
I know, and it just aggravates me to no end. And beyond that, because I can't control that, I can complain. I feel like rightfully with Bill's obsession with a Dragonite, and I want to just reach to the screen and shake him and say, "This is not a rare Pokemon, you motherfucker. This is
But
not."
it's special because it's
Ash
giant.
has already found a Pokemon that's more rare than this one.
In the first episode.
Which isn't even included in the 150 Pokemon, and he's seen it. Meanwhile, we know for a fact that Dragonite is in the 150 Pokemon. So I'm like, Bill, what kind of Pokemon researcher are you, you stupid bitch? It's not hard.
But he knows all these things. He knows there's the 150. He says that there's more. There's 150 known, but there are more. And he's obsessed with this Godzilla mutation giant Dragonite that's not exciting at all.
With the derpy smile.
I'm sorry, Dragonite is goofy Charizard.
I love Dragonite is one of my favorite Pokemon just because he's a dragon, right? And I love dragons. I've got like 4 or 5 in this room. But he's just got this big, stupid smile on his face and this fat round
Sean and I
nose.
have talked about this extensively. It is the most aggravating thing to me, as somebody who cares about the way a Pokemon looks, that I get beautiful, beautiful Dragonair, and it evolves into that.
It's like Charizard's wearing a Barney suit.
I like to call him Chunkzilla sometimes, just because that makes me happy. Poor Dragonite. But he sounds so sad, and he's also supposed to be Lapras, and you're confused as a kid, and you're like, I already got Lapras in the game I've been playing, and then he's not Lapras.
The whole song thing, I was 110% sure it was Lapras.
And who would associate Dragonite with, like, the water, like, and just being out in the middle of the ocean? That doesn't sound right either, does it?
You know,
no, it doesn't. It makes no sense.
Okay, but something I gotta get. We're crapping on this episode, and that's fine. But I have to say, like, 2 positives. Just give me 2 positives. One positive: Ash catches the Krabby with a stick. He does not fight the Krabby. He does not abuse the Krabby. He
once again does not do it correctly.
He doesn't know how to use Pokemon, but it's very humane.
But he pokes it with a stick.
No, he doesn't poke it though. He uses the stick as a distraction.
And the Krabby cuts the stick into like 50 pieces, but it's clamped on his finger, and all his finger does is get swollen and red. But it
was a really shitty stick. The point is, he caught it without the animal cruelty. You can't have it both ways, guys. Come on, you can't have it both ways. And then
we have to address the thing that you guys have talked about related to the Krabby and Professor Oak and the tofu later.
The tofu, yeah. Well, that's my second point here. My second positive is that then, like, we talk all about this animal abuse. Well, he sends it to Professor Oak, and you're like, well, Professor Oak's got to be a busy guy, right? He's probably got lots of Pokemon to care about. No, he's just hanging out with a couple of Krabbies in his office, and there's not another damn Pokemon in sight. And we feel like that's all he knows how to do until, like, I don't know, it's like the end of Indigo League when we finally realize he's got a whole farm out there.
Gary's Krabby is humongous. Well, his Krabby is the right size. Ash caught the putiest Krabby that's ever walked the beach. I don't know.
That's why he didn't have to beat it up first, because
he literally just picked it up and shoved it in a Pokeball.
It almost fits in the Pokeball without even having to be shrunken down. Okay, you guys have talked about the food issue before, and what they eat, and whether or not there's other regular animals, and there's only instances of slightly normal animals. But here, Professor Oak is like, I'm eating this tofu, but your Krabby sounding like it may taste pretty good. Well, sorry,
he
not yours.
mentions it.
Gary's Krabby might taste good.
Oh, yours is far too much to make a substantial meal. Or far too small.
They do.
Oh my God, Professor
Oak,
Pokemon researcher.
He's gonna eat a Pokemon. It's amazing. But I love the trope that like both of their cooks happen to be gone, both Bill and Thanos. I laughed so hard when he's like,
do they have the same
cook's
cook?
out of town. I don't know why. It's not even a joke, and I laughed for like 5 minutes. Wait,
this is one of those areas where I wonder about the translation. Like translation-wise, I wonder if like they knew Americans don't like tofu as much, so it's like a jokey joke thing. Or if it's
or whatever,
also the case in like Japan where they're like, we could have better food, but now we just have tofu.
Did we forget the dick joke last week, or is that this week?
That's this week.
That is this week. Okay, I'm
sorry. Because he's talking about the Dragonite.
Size does matter in Dragonite, but got it. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sean. Since we've apparently ran out of time.
Listen, we're running out of time. We got to squeeze in a dick joke or two, okay? I don't remember what it is. It's something about like Jesse's like, yeah, it's the biggest known Pokemon or something like that, and Jesse's like, so size does matter. And
James would say that.
I'm sorry. I almost died though. I was crying.
James, as a notorious homosexual bottom, would say that. I fervently believe that, and no one will ever prove me wrong because
I fully agree.
James is.
We're talking about a guy. Yeah.
Thank you.
Are we gonna cover the banned episode when it comes time? Because I plan on it. I mean, it's not still banned, right? Like it's on Netflix, I think.
It's not.
Yeah, we can. No, it's not on Netflix. But
the Netflix numbering is all messed up. I was worried about watching the wrong episodes because the Netflix numbering doesn't match what's on Bulbapedia.
Okay. So don't trust Netflix then to listeners and Tyler and whoever, because we are going to cover every damned episode,
I think it's
boobs or otherwise.
Boobs.
I think it's.
We're gonna get them all.
I think it's moving. It's missing. They removed both the seizure episode and the boob episode. So yeah, you guys just.
When we get to that episode, I'm titling it on YouTube. I'm gonna make an Electabuzz noise, and it's gonna be called like boobs, Electabuzz, and whatever the episode title is. It's gonna be great. That's all I got. I'm done.
I do though. I have very fervently always believed that James is such a homosexual. I mean, he's so gay to me. He never misses an opportunity to be in drag. He just the way he talks and everything, he is so fey. This is just another one of those moments. He's gay.
There's no questioning it. I think you talked about that in one of the first episode or second episode or something. And I'm like, and I hadn't rewatched any of the show since then, but watching these episodes, and I watched a couple more after, and I was like, yeah, there's no question at all. We didn't know that when we were 8, but like, there's no question at all.
I knew it.
You knew it.
I mean, I don't want to make presumptions, but yeah, it's hard not to think that he probably totally is.
Oh, 100%, and I love that about him. It's one of my favorite things.
He is one of the most entertaining characters in the show. I will give him that.
Speaking of
I have nothing to say.
Giant Dragonite's lonely because I looked up the height of Dragonites, and Dragonites are 7'3" and like 435 pounds or something like that.
That one's like 18 stories tall.
And I'm like, no wonder he's lonely and moaning all the time. I mean, he's
hungry.
He's not. Well, I was gonna say he's not gonna find a mate with that.
That's
situation.
He's horny, not hungry.
I mean, I didn't say it. Jesse said it, but there's so much going on and stuff. You guys have talked. I have 2 ideas that I want to throw out there before we run out of time. One is Pokemon the first isekai anime, because I know it's not trapped in a video game logic, but it is very much the first show I know of that uses video game logic in terms of, it's like, okay, there's leveling up in the game, and that's how most evolutions are based on leveling up. And I thought that's an interesting mechanic, and I think it's one of the first times we see that. in anime. And now it's so overrun with isekai, like over isekai anime. So that was something.
No, you're right. You're right, because the only one they can think of like immediately after that is Digimon, which does come after Pokemon. So
yeah, and
I think you're right. I think Pokemon may be the first.
and I know I'm sure people are gonna freak out, be like, "Oh, this was not isekai." And I'm sorry the angry comments that I'm gonna cause you guys to get. The other thing is, we're talking about Dragonite being lonely. Whatever. We're talking about Dragonite being lonely. I'm like, okay, Pokemon reproduction. How does it happen? When new Pokemon are born,
you drop two Pokemon off at a nursery, and you hope that they will.
I told you to watch them more closely.
So are they only fertile in their latest stage evolution? Is that how it works? So like, if you never like Pikachu is never going to reproduce because Ash is never going to evolve him into Raichu, and then are they born in? I mean, I guess they're born into their earliest evolution.
Thinking about this makes me pissed off at the whole Nidoran, the Nidoran cycles. Like, you knew that female and male Pokemon existed from the beginning. You had different ones for that, and you just ignored it everywhere else.
Yeah, I know. Because the way that they talk about like Pokemon breeding and stuff is so interesting. That it's just a good question, Tyler.
It's a tremendous question. There's no answer.
There was stuff that you guys talked, and I can't remember. Like, as I was listening to all your episodes, I was writing down random notes, and now I can't remember. I was writing down my thoughts, so I don't remember exactly what you guys were talking about.
See, Jesse, it's not just me.
Those are just the episode titles. You should get those right. Notes other things are different.
I binged all your episodes at once, and I wrote down all the notes, and then I forgot my notes, watched the episodes, took notes about that, and then realized I had other notes of stuff I actually wanted to address, topics that you guys had talked about, and be like, well, or how does this episode relate to that, or whatever. I don't know. I don't remember where I was going with that. But yeah, I was curious about how reproduction works, just in general, because yeah, there's only film ones that have male and female versions.
Well, I think what we need to do is, because this is a real subject that we need to talk about, I think we need a part 2 for this episode.
I think that's fair.
So let's we've wrapped up Mr. The Lighthouse as much as we can, because rare Pokemon are rare Pokemon until they're not. Which is pretty much the basic of this. And real quickly about the manga, Bill and the game.
Some gameplay.
We didn't talk about that either. Bill shows up as a Pokemon. He's accidentally transformed himself into a Pokemon in both the manga and in the games. And the main character has to save him from being a Pokemon, because his transportation system, the thing that takes Krabby and sends to Professor Oak, is Bill's invention. And Bill fucks it up and turns up as a Pokemon, which is a very funny thing to happen, and it's a little different than what we see here. But
that's a great idea, though. That's a great idea. Let's do a part 2 on this particular episode. Thanks for throwing that out.
Perfect. So that's it for PokéMalarkey Mr. The Lighthouse episode 1.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Tyler, thank you for actually voluntarily returning to the show. We appreciate it. Jesse, you're my favorite PokéMalarkey host. Do you know that? I need you to know that.
Thank you. I'm my favorite.
I'm your favorite producer.
You are my favorite producer.
Yes. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate it, and we love you all, and come back next week. Thanks for watching PokéMalarkey.